Item D, adopt resolution confirming existence of public emergency and ratifying city manager's immediate expenditure of public money to safeguard life, health, safety, property, or essential public services. This issue will require a 4/5 vote to confirm the emergency. City manager?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. The action before you tonight, as the Mayor indicated, is by a 4/5 vote of the City Council to confirm the existence of a public emergency, which I declared last Thursday afternoon under the authority that has been granted to me by two specific actions previously of the City Council, or of the City Council. One is Section 2.48 of the San Bruno Municipal Code empowers the Director of Emergency Services, which is one of the functions that is vested in the City Manager responsibilities, to proclaim the existence or threatened existence of a public emergency when the city is affected or is likely to be affected by a public calamity and the City Council is not in session. Secondly, the City Council took action by resolution to authorize, in the event of such a public emergency, a suspension of the normal requirements of the Public Contracts Code, which requires the city to utilize a competitive public bid process for projects, public works projects, over a certain dollar value. By the resolution previously executed by the City Council, the city may expend any sum required in that emergency without complying with the requirements of the Public Contracts Code, which would otherwise potentially pertain. In this particular case, the circumstances that led to my decision to proclaim a public emergency have been occurring in San Bruno since approximately September 30th, at which time staff became aware by an alert from a public utility company that there was a suspected leakage of wastewater, raw sewage from one of the city's main lines into an underground utility vault in the neighborhood of Montgomery and Tanforan, and more specifically the 1200 block of Montgomery in San Bruno. In this particular case, AT&T noted to staff that the underground vaults were filling with what appeared to be wastewater and potentially jeopardizing the communications equipment that is housed in those underground vaults. AT&T was taking action to remove the water from the vaults, but became increasingly concerned that it was in fact not groundwater or rainwater, but actually wastewater. Upon staff's investigation, which occurred over a period of several days and involved extensive testing and analysis and included the assistance of the City of South San Francisco staff, because at that point it was not entirely certain whether the potential leakage was from a San Bruno line or a South San Francisco line, because as you probably realize, this area exists on the border of our community, and it is an older section of the community, whereas wastewater lines have been in place for decades. It is an area which is heavily utilized by heavy trucks, and it is a very busy, active area. So there was a need both to identify exactly what was going on, what was the source of the problem, and then whether that problem was essentially owned by one or the other of the two municipal jurisdictions. Unfortunately for us, that testing and analysis work, as it closed in steadily over the days of last week, increasingly identified that the suspected problem is a leak from one or many of the various areas of a city main line, which is heavily impacted with fractures for a length of approximately 600 to 800 feet. Again, it's an older line. It's unknown exactly where the specific problem is emanating, or whether it is emanating from a variety of different areas. Our televising of the line has indicated that it is actually in very poor shape, as I said, with numerous areas of fracture. By installing a bypass, a temporary bypass to this line, staff was able to identify with most precision, after testing, in fact, did confirm the existence of fecal coliform in the vault, that in fact, once identified that this was in fact wastewater, that staff then proceeded to narrow the area from which it was coming, and determined that by installing a bypass, a temporary detour around the impacted pipe area, that in fact they were able to observe that the leakage into the underground vaults slowed. It didn't stop, but, or at least as I was given to understand, it didn't stop, but it markedly slowed. That really is the information that we have from an analytical scientific testing perspective that leads us to a conclusion that it is at least highly probable, if not entirely the fact, that a sanitary sewer overflow is occurring and is continuing continuously from a location in a main line that is the responsibility of the city of San Bruno. Not only does that create the potential for a health hazard, is creating impacts to the viability of the underground telecommunications, communications equipment, but the fact of the existence of a sanitary sewer overflow, and one particularly that is continuing unabated, subjects the city to the potential, if not the probability, of a significant penalty action by the regional board. As the city council is aware, the regional board expects that we operate a sanitary sewer system that does not overflow. And as impossible as that is the standard that we're challenged and expected to meet. In this particular case, it is therefore necessary that when a sanitary sewer overflow is noticed, whether suspected or confirmed, that overflow is required to be reported immediately to the regional board. That was done as required, as is done in every case where similar situations occur in the city of San Bruno. And the expectation is that the city will move immediately to address and correct and prevent the continuation of the overflow situation. As I indicated, in this situation, isolating the problem took a bit of time, and so we are already, if you will, overdue in moving swiftly to correction of that problem. And that is the basis in perhaps a long-winded summary form for the emergency proclamation. Having made that proclamation on October 8th, last Thursday, staff was immediately directed to move as quickly as possible to locate a contractor, to identify an appropriate repair technology, and to initiate work to repair the situation. That work has occurred. Staff reported to me yesterday that they have identified a suitable and available contractor. It's no easy trick. Contractors tend to be working, so getting somebody here on a moment's notice took some work. The proposed repair in this particular case is a dig out and replacement of approximately 600 to 800 feet of the main line, televising the a line analysis that has occurred to date demonstrates that there are 3 manhole locations which are seriously deteriorated and also require immediate attention. The necessary repairs then would further repair those manhole locations. And as the repair progresses, staff and the contractor will obtain access to analyze whether additional repairs will be necessary to the lower lateral areas connected to this main line. Those areas are not readily available for video inspection, but once the main line is opened up and the trench has been completed, it will be possible to further analyze whether lower laterals in this area also need attention. Staff has identified a contractor, I believe that is West Valley, who has done previous work for the city. West Valley is able to mobilize and to be here, if not today, very quickly, and they will immediately initiate the necessary repairs and the additional analysis. The estimate that I have at the current time is $100,000 to $150,000. I believe that $150,000 will be sufficient in the event that it is necessary also to repair lower lateral lines adjacent to this main line. Under the law, this procedure, this proclamation of emergency and the immediate expenditure of city funds requires that I report to you not only at this meeting, the immediately next available city council meeting, and request your adoption of a resolution confirming the existence of the emergency that I've just described, and at each subsequent meeting until the situation is fully and finally resolved. So with the information I currently have, you can expect a similar report at your next regular city council meeting that will include an update on the situation and either your further action to confirm the continuing existence of the public emergency, or should we be extremely expedient in resolving this situation, potentially your action to accept conclusion of the emergency. So with that, again, we're asking for your 4/5 vote to approve the resolution that's before you tonight.
Any questions of staff? Not any action from council?
The chair will introduce a resolution for adoption.
Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Buane.
Aye.
Councilmember Medina.
Aye.
Councilmember Ibera.
Aye.
Councilmember O'Connell.
Aye.
Mayor Franzella.
Aye.